Scrum. So uh, pictures show that the Scrum is is having three pillars. Okay, adoption, inspection, and the transparency. Okay, and how adoption? Why Scrum? Because Scrum belongs to Agile. Scrum implement the Agile, so adoption is quite uh, will be there, right? Adoption in terms of like change in the requirements by the customer, right? Every time the product backlog is getting groomed, that's why it's one of the major pillar of Scrum. Then inspection. You can see we are planning how Scrum works. We are dividing the complete product development into number of sprints. And after every sprints, we are just reviewing ourselves whether whatever we did, whether it is as per the expectation or not. That is inspection. And transparency. Whoever are involved in this particular, whoever are the stakeholder of the particular software, particular product, they are getting visibility, right? What is the current development status of a particular software, right? Particular product. How? So every time in sprint review meeting and sprint retrospective meeting, we are calling other stakeholder to just see whatever we did, whether it's a transparency. Okay, see what we have did, right? So that is quite transparent. So these are the three pillars of the Scrum. Already we have discussed. Then this is something is called as the value of the Scrum, right? These are the values. So what are the values of Scrum? Courage, commitment, focus, respect, openness, and yes, this is the success, right? So courage, how courage is the value in the Scrum, because how Scrum works, like again, it's a the courage of product owner who are just committing with the project, right? Taking the new projects, like he's showing courage that we can do it. Again, Scrum team is showing courage. We can complete this particular sprint, okay, particular task within this time. It's a courage as well as its commitment. We will do it within 2 to 4 weeks within this particular, and we are committed to deliver the story. So this is the commitment. And then focus. They will be like very focused within that particular sprint. Whatever task like sprint backlog is there, they are very focused toward that, clearing out that particular backlog. They will not see here and there, right? The task, the work will be very focused one. They respect each other, right? Respect, how respect can be the value, because you can just remember, like we are asking the Scrum team to do the estimation, right? And there the Scrum master is just keeping eyes on the team members who are not participating in the estimation. He will uh, just ask those participants to be involved in the estimation techniques. So again, respect is one of the value in Scrum, right? Everybody respect each other. Openness, right? Everything is very transparent, crystal clear. After every sprint, all stakeholders meet together for sprint review and sprint retrospective meeting, and this is the how we are just uh, reaching to the success of project completion, right? So this is again already we have discussed, right? This is all about the sprint. So what is sprint? Sprint is a time box activity. Okay. So again, it's a time box. What do you mean by time box? It's having particular time constraint. Like sprint can be of 1 to 4 weeks, right? So that is fixed in Scrum. Sprint should be of 1 to 4 weeks. So, and it should be consistent. You can't say that my first sprint will be of 1 week, second sprint will be of 3 weeks, again 1 week, again 2 weeks. No, right? The all sprints should be of consistent length, right? So, and it is a time box, like it's of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like that. So again, if you consider, okay, this is a particular sprint, and we are just uh, going in detail to see what is there in that particular sprint. So within sprint, we can't alter any goal. Okay, whenever the sprint is active, we are not going to change anything. Like if customer is coming in between and saying that you just start to develop this requirement in this way. Okay, whenever the sprint are, this is the rule. Okay, so whenever the sprint is in the active mode, the changes are not allowed. Again, agree upon definition of done, right? So definition of done, many times we have discussed about definition of done. If I ask you, what is definition of done for attending the lectures, what is definition of done for you guys? One student may say that, "Okay, ma'am, definition of done for us is just marking the attendance. If our attendance is getting marked, then it's done for us." Some student may say me, "Ki ma'am, if 80% of content which you have taught, if it is understood to me, then it's definition of done for." Some may say that, "Ki ma'am, 100% content, if I understood, then it's a definition done for." So it's vary among individuals. So, but when you are working in a team, you have to agree upon the common definition of done. So this is the way in which sprint work. So sprint every time, like this is the sprint one, this is the sprint two, this is the sprint three. So life cycle, software development life cycle, you need to repeat: design, develop, test, discover. Design, design, develop, test, discover. Design, develop, test, discover. For like every sprint will be getting particular input. So what input it will be? It is nothing but the stories which they need to clear out, right? The sprint backlog they will be getting. So what is sprint backlog? Sprint backlog can be a uh, the 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 mini version of, like, one of the module of the software, right, that you are going to deliver to the end user. So then velocity. So what is velocity? Understanding velocity is very important, right? So you need to sit for the planning, right? Sprint ka planning you need to do. So there is one method to do that planning, that is velocity based planning. So what is velocity? Understanding velocity is very important. So it is the amount of work finished by the team in each sprint. Very, very crystal clear definition is given over here, right? I will underline this. It is amount of work finished by the team in each sprint. Yeah, each sprint is very important, right? This is very important. Each sprint may, and the amount of work. But how you can calculate the amount of work in Scrum? So it's very simple. We have written the stories, right? So जितने story हर एक sprint में खत्म होंगे, that is the velocity of that team, right? So it helps the team to identify how much progress they can aim to make in a given sprint. Velocity is calculated by adding all the story points given to each user story that is completed by end of the sprint, right? So you can imagine you are having the stories, and then story के साथ you are having story points. Okay, यहाँ पे story, you are having story and story point. Okay, so you are having story and story point. ठीक है. So यहाँ पे story and story point. तो हर एक sprint में like the story you have completed, that is the velocity, and what you have to do, you have to just add the story point to give the velocity. Okay, so how you will do that? So the steps involved in velocity based sprint planning is you need to calculate team's average velocity for last 3 sprint. You can imagine, okay, you are having, say, 3 sprints. Okay, 3 sprints, sprint cycle hai. In pehla sprint your team has completed around say 5 stories. In second sprint your team has completed 10 stories. Okay, so and in third sprint they are again just completing 2 stories. So what does it indicate? So first was okay, the second was 50% more than velocity is 50% more than first sprint, and the third is something very at the very low end, right? 2 stories is not expected within that. If in other sprint, if your team is completing 5 and 10, so it's a questionable. If in third sprint, if your team is just completing 2 stories, it will be the questionable, right? So that is something, the question on the velocity. So velocity again, I repeat, velocity is nothing but the how it is calculated, adding all the story point. And what is story point? Story point is nothing but we have done estimation, right? इसको कितना hours, like हर एक story को कितना hours लगेगा. हाँ, each and every story requires how many hours, right? How much hours it required to complete. So that is nothing but story point, and sum together will give you the velocity of your team, right? So that is the, like, sprint planning, velocity based sprint planning we will not discuss here, but you need to understand here what do you mean by the velocity. Velocity is amount of work finished by team in particular sprint. Then this is the something which is the daily stand up meeting, right? So daily stand up, again it is a time box event, right? It is a 15-minute duration. Then same place पे होता है, right? So it will save time. कि हर time you need not to uh, remember where the meeting is and search for the location, and it is always happen in the same time, right? Just give me a minute. Sorry, just give me a minute. Then this Delhi Scrum, Delhi stand-up meeting is facilitated by the Scrum Master. The full team presence is mandatory. The tick mark is there, you can see here. And these are the, then there are 3 main questions, okay? What I did yesterday, what I'll do today, what's in my way. Like what's in my way is what are the impediments in the path, right? Or like what are the hurdles, what are the obstacles? So that is something every day you are just doing this activity. So you can just imagine the advantages with the same, right? The advantages with the same. The next, so this is something is sprint review meeting, okay? Sprint review meeting. So for what purpose sprint review meeting and when it is? So once the particular sprint is getting over, you are just calling sprint review meeting. So who all will be there in the sprint review meeting, and what is the purpose of that sprint review meeting? So scrum master, product owner, development team, customer will be there. Just a minute, I just stopped the recording.